When a company locates, they look for their best talent within a 30-mile radius. And so I think a win in Van Buren Township is a win for Taylor as well, and that speaks to the regionalism of this organization. And so on the next slide, I summarize on 10 the Aerotropolis services that I perform on your behalf. And so going to the next slide, I wanted to highlight specifically what we're doing. So on slide 11, you'll see a map. This map is located on the Detroit Aerotropolis webpage, detroitaero.org. And what we've done is we've mapped out all of the sites, 25 acres and above, and all of the buildings, 100,000 square foot, that are vacant. And if you click on one of those pinpoints, what it takes you to is an outline of where the building's located, the water, power, the sewer available to that site. And the goal is to get far beyond the initial point where a site selector is looking at your community. The goal is when a site selector chooses Southeast Michigan, we've done 95% of the work for them. We've pulled all of the infrastructure information. We've organized all of the site's readiness. We're working with all of the incentive programs, both on the city side, the Aerotropolis side, Wayne County, and the state. So it's easier for them to make a decision when we've done the work on their behalf. And I think that's what Aerotropolis was designed to do. It was designed to look at what Fortune 500, Fortune 50 companies were expanding and to be ready for that expansion opportunity sooner than later. So on slide number 12, you're looking at some of the acreage sites that I'm currently promoting on your behalf. And then slide number 13, this is what we've done. We've pulled the infrastructure data on all of these sites for you, and we currently market them. And so now I want to talk about slide number 14. So when I was working with George and the economic development team, they were in conversation with a company called Airspace Link. Airspace Link had this idea to build highways in the sky. We knew that drone delivery was coming. We knew that Uber Air and Amazon Air and a few others would start using drones to move high-value cargo between 40 and 400 feet. But what wasn't in existence is there were no highways in the sky for those drones to fly safely. And so George and his team introduced me to Airspace Link, and we had the idea of making the Aerotropolis a pilot. If we could build highways in the sky next to the 18th busiest airport in the nation, that would help us recruit drone manufacturing to Southeast Michigan to build on the workforce talent pool we have, but also it would be an innovative way to lead the nation in the next generation of mobility. And so we partnered with the Michigan Economic Development Corporation under the Planet M brand, and Airspace Link was awarded a $60,000 grant. We worked with the City of Taylor's Economic Development team and their IT department to be the first in the nation to build these highways in the sky for companies like FedEx, UPS, Amazon Air, Uber Air to start flying successfully. And this grant is now wrapping up. We're going to have some results for you in the near future. And I'm happy to say that I'm negotiating with Airspace Link to pay the annual dues on behalf of the city through the Aerotropolis membership. And I'll have more information I'm going to share with George on that at the Aerotropolis next board meeting. And then at the end of your packet, this is most of where I spend my time. So when I get a proposal from the state of Michigan that says, Chris, we're looking for a 25-acre site. We want it to be light industrial zoned. It has to be 5 miles between an interstate, between two interstates, and it has to have easy access to the airport. And so what I do, these are all of the projects, the lead source where the project came from and whether or not it was a new business or existing business. And what's located on that is all of the sites I submitted on behalf of the city of Taylor. And this is a work in progress. As I started, I implemented Salesforce as my customer relationship management tool. And so if the city or if the TIFA board wanted to know more details about each individual project, I can pull that data from Salesforce at your convenience. And so that was my presentation. Wanted to keep it pretty short and concise and leave it open for questions.
Okay. Anybody have any comments or questions for Chris? George?
I'd just like to add, Chris, I probably need you on this, but I think MEDC allows us to capture school taxes too. It's something that we're probably going to come to this board with. We have to have agreement with them. And I know how sensitive capturing school taxes are. However, you get reimbursed from the MEDC on this. So to give you an example how much those funds were to help the development, in Romulus, Amazon, it was $7 million. So it's a substantial amount of money that you get reimbursed by MEDC. So we'll bring you guys, it's kind of a little heads up. I think it's a great program to be a part of that. You know, tax capture could definitely enhance the development and encourage the development even more. And just the Amazon was $7 million just school taxes. And then they get reimbursed that. The other comment that I'd like to know is talk about is the drones. This is actually supported by the airport. They see a need for it. They see as much of the economic development driver this could be. I mean, typically you could start manufacturing them. The days that people just buy a drone and go fly it are long gone. One of the reasons we started to get involved in it from an ordnance standpoint, because you have all these fairs and these events and what would happen if something was to fall. But also, you know, the concerns that the residents, when you build that infrastructure, you can control the flight. So you don't have flights over homes, you don't have them over hospitals. If you have a event or fair, you